What is some of the most deeply ingrained beliefs you have about yourself, your body, your voice, your worth, are just deeply ingrained in you? They were never actually yours to begin with. This is some of the work that I've been doing, and I want to share with you what I have learned about this process because you too may have been thinking the same thing as well. Hello, my name is Krista, and I guide and support women to hear their inner voice, their intuition, to trust what it's saying, and to help them act on this intuition so they can live empowered lives and make decisions that feel right to them moving forward. So first of all, I want to share that I feel like I'm a good person to do this video because I have done some unlearning the last few years in my life. And I want to share some of what I have learned about myself, and in the hopes that maybe you might resonate with this as well too, because the unlearning is part of the way that I learned to start to trust myself more deeply, more powerfully. So let me begin with what unlearning actually is. It's not a rejection of everything that you've been taught by your family, by society, by your parents. It really has nothing to do with that. We're not rejecting everything that we've, taken in over our life. It's just slowly starting to look at it. Is this true for me? Is this belief actually accurate for me where I am right now in my life? Just turning that over and starting to examine that instead of just believing that everything you have been taught is accurate. There's also a difference of having something be having truth in your body and just being familiar. And so it's recognizing the difference of, yeah, this is mine to take on. This feels true to me. I resonate with this. This feels right versus this is just what I've known all my life and I've never really thought about that. So that's really what the unlearning is all about. It's not a rejection of everything you've been told, but just processing it and looking at it with a little bit different eyes. All right, so I want to clarify that. So what were the unlearnings for me? The first one was that I had this deeply ingrained belief that everybody knew better than I did, that everybody on the TV knew better than I did, the doctors knew better than I did, the news, the media, our professors at school, whatever it may be, just starting to look at whether this was accurate. I never questioned it before. I probably had no need to question it before. So I just carried along with that. And I really felt like, who am I to question? Like they are the experts. They know everything. And it wasn't until I started to look at this a little bit different that yes, you can be an expert in your field. Absolutely, knowledge does matter. I'm not debating that at all. But you can still be an expert in a specific topic and it still not be right for everybody. And I believe that it's really knowing what's best for you. Does this feel right for me? And my specific situation where I am in my life, it has to be right for you. So that is one of the first unlearnings that I had to really look at and recognize that I'm the expert on me, full stop. Like I know what's best for me. And it wasn't like I was, rejecting what other people said. It just meant that I could see my resonance. I did not automatically override what I was feeling anymore and thinking that others knew better than I did. It was just a reframing with that. My opinion, my beliefs mattered as well too, right? So that's one of the big unlearnings that I have looked at over the last few years that I continue to do as well. What was the second one? The second one was learning to recognize that I did not always have to be the peacemaker. I did not have to be the one that was quiet, that did what others wanted me to do. I didn't have to make other people feel comfortable. I had my own opinions and they were, they were good opinions, and I didn't have to just go along and be the nice one, be the good one all the time. That I didn't have to do that anymore. And that was a big unlearning for me. And I recognized that I was ready to drop that identity. And some of that I recognized was I was doing that because I didn't want to have any conflict in my life. It was easier to go along and then to have that confrontation sometimes. It was protecting me, being able to just go along and not question anything. And I slowly started to see that by doing this, I was gradually starting to self-abandon and not recognize or not prioritize what was true for me. And it happens gradually. We don't even probably know it's happening. It's a slow process, but I slowly stopped to abandon my truth and really prioritize what I was feeling and what I was recognizing, and not worrying so much about the opinions of others or if I was making them uncomfortable, where I might have prioritized them initially more than myself. So that was a process. That was a process, not always an easy process as well, but that there was a little bit of unraveling with that. But looking at that with different eyes and a different awareness, I came up with different conclusions about that as well too. So I learned to be honest with myself and not sugarcoat it anymore. And really, that's what I suggest to you. Just be honest. You know what feels good and right in your body. And the third unlearning was probably took me the longest. And that was because I came from a health and wellness background. I, did all the traditional learning, and I was always tweaking and biohacking and measuring and optimizing my body. I knew how to do all of that very well. And I would guide others and support others years ago in doing some of this as well too. So I was well versed in this, but I started to slowly shift away from optimizing my body and thinking of it as a science experiment maybe, and really looking at it as information. My body was always speaking to me. It was always guiding me. But I didn't see that, or I didn't experience that for quite some time. Those little sensations in our bodies, those feelings, the little tingle, the pain, the upset stomach, all those sensations are our body speaking to us. It has so much wisdom, it has so much guidance, deep wisdom, and it's always trying to speak to us in many ways. But for the longest time, I didn't see that. I didn't recognize that. I didn't prioritize that. Now I do. Now I know it's always speaking to me. And that's where our intuition comes from. It comes from our body. And it's always getting our attention as well too. So yeah, so learning to listen to my body was learning to listen to myself. It was a coming back home to myself. So really just changing the narrative of what my body was capable of. Instead of optimizing, biohacking it, it's really coming home to it in a different way that I'd never noticed before. So what do we do when we start to let go of all this unlearning? What happens then? How does that look? Well, really, you start to have more space in your body. There's more openness. There's more opportunity to be yourself, to come home to yourself and be aware of your patterns, your habits, and really just noticing yourself and going, that's kind of interesting. I kind of do this now too. And, sometimes the work is not always comfortable, but I would say it's so worth it once you move along and you kind of, not to say get to the other side, but once you start to really understand yourself more, you just have more reverence for yourself and you trust yourself more. And that's really what I'm hoping to share with you too, just having that trust in yourself and not having trust in everybody else, coming back to yourself at all times. And I realized, as I might have mentioned before too, just a lot of this was due to protective mechanisms. I was protecting myself from uncomfortable feelings, uncomfortable emotions, things I didn't want to do. So it was just easier to protect. And I'm willing now to sit in uncomfortable situations or to have uncomfortable conversations, knowing that I will be okay. I can do it. I can feel any emotion. I can feel any feeling, and I know I'll be okay. And when you can do that, there's a lot that comes with it. You can be with anything then. You're not protecting yourself. You're open to whatever arises. And you build a lot of self-trust. And it's just, I think, a powerful way to exist in the world when you can do that. It doesn't happen overnight, but I think it's a good thing. So I want to ask you now, I'm going to be closing this up, and I just wonder if there's something that you're sitting with right now that you want to look at. There's something that you've just always believed about yourself. This is just who I am, and you've never questioned it before. Can you actually be honest with yourself and look at this and look at it? Maybe you need to turn it over and question it and do a little bit of an analysis, journal, talk about it, and just see if there's something there that maybe has not always been what you have believed. It's just something that you've taken on. But now when you've looked at it, you don't trust that. You don't have that belief that you might have had before. And that's okay. That's our right to have that as well too. So just really be willing to look at it, give it the reverence that it deserves, and just be open to questioning it. That's all I ask, and just sit with that. Be honest with yourself and just sit with that question. I will wrap up this up. I also want to share with you, you can share in the comments if you have any questions or if you've been looking at this yourself. I also have a new freebie that I have designed specifically for you. It's a journey to reconnect with yourself, to reconnect with your inner voice if you may have lost connection with that quite a while ago. So it's an audio practice that you can download and listen to that on your own time. And it might just be able to give you the first steps to reconnect with your inner voice and your inner wisdom and just start the process again. Thank you all for being here, and I wish you all a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.